Hello and welcome. This is the Star Wars Commander Pixel Empire, and I am Commander Envy. Today I'm going to be doing an official first episode, just going over the information of what I want to cover in this channel. I'm going to have different types of episodes. I don't want to just bore you guys with just straight gameplay, even though it is a lot of fun. I want to go over just more of the pros and cons of this game, also adjustments that come through. Really breaking down the adjustments and how they affect the meta, or just, change the way that we play this game. I know a lot of people that play this game, usually in my squads, don't really know much of what's going on. So, because they don't really read the forums, or they just choose not to really participate in some of the more annoying posters that are there. So pretty much, I just want to go over some of the topics that are being covered there, some of the information the devs are releasing that's in there that's relevant to the game. Not a lot of people know about it because, again, it's only in the forums and it's a lot of just open discussion. But what does hit the game usually is not kind of hinted at very much. It's more just you'll see it when when it's slapping you in the face. So I want to kind of give players the ability to get a hold of this information before it's right on the doorstep, so people can kind of adjust their gameplay or different meta approaches. So I want to go over that, and then I also want to go over units that I think should be adjusted. So I'm going to go over kind of the ships that you see in Starship Command, the difference between TIE fighters and all that, and just damage credit efficiency, which is something I'm very big about. And I feel is really going to be something important right now, because matchmaking currently is, as you can see from my credits, it's very low in terms of rewards. So I'm hoping I can boost this up some, and even just with me, I already have a very credit to damage efficient build. Usually I only spend about 15,000 credits, which is very cheap in higher levels. But we'll see. Like I said, I want to go over that. And then, of course, I want to go over a tournament. So events like this, I'm going to be doing pretty much their own specific series of episodes. It's going to be strictly focused on tournament. It's going to be harder to cover gameplay, because pretty much gameplay, just playing gameplay and then tournament is going to be the same thing. You have to engage in it the same way, so either way you have to participate in it, which is something I'll go over about how I feel it's a good and a bad thing. There's things that I find a little bit frustrating about it, but I'm going to go into that, and then of course also my base build, why you see the types of turrets that I'm using now, how I feel they're effective, and just kind of what the best base builds are for this types of situations. There's not one god, basically one god mode build. It's all going to be varying based on what your opponent is and how skilled your opponent is. I can't tell you how many times I've seen really great builds that are just completely squandered by a really poor player that just drops it right in the middle of 6 or 8 turrets. So I want to go over that, and yeah, just kind of more focused on just pros and cons, forum posts, discussing topics, new adjustments that are going through, and then also just events, as I mentioned, going through all those different things, having their own episodes for them. I don't want to keep it boring by just showing you guys gameplay. I also want to make it open so that players that want to have their opinions voiced about my shows, or basically any of the information they want to talk about or feel like they want to ask questions about, I want to do a segment for that as well. Just going over things that people want to talk about, whatever you guys want to hear. Willing to answer it, whatever. So we'll go into that. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I think I'm going to go over at least some gameplay right now, just to kind of make this so it's not, just all talking. Because I don't want to keep this too boring. I promise it's going to be more exciting from here on out. It's just, this is more to give people that want to, or just curious about what my shows are going to, or what my channel is going to be about, just to kind of give them an idea. And then after that, it's going to be more about the content. So I'm going to go into this battle log here. We'll go ahead and go with this top one. The bottom one was a little bit rough. It was a HQ7. I'm currently HQ6, and as you can see from out here, I'm very close to being HQ7. but all my stuff is HQ6, excluding my little alloy refineries. These are the only things I have that are basically tier 5. Everything else I've kept pretty good about keeping it up in higher levels. So, and I feel that's important. A lot of people, there's reasons why people keep some of the structures in lower levels, ones that are not as essential as say the Starfleet Command or Starship Command, Hero Command turrets. Those are more important to keep always at your equal level. But there's things like the collectors, the barracks, they're not as important, and I'm going to go over why some people feel that way. Me personally, I love upgrading everything, even if it does make me have a harder matchup, which is something, again, I'll go into in future episodes. So, I had a matchup with a 7. He dropped all 6 TIE Fighters, which is the max you can drop, or all 6 X-Wings. I always want to say TIE Fighters. I keep changing Rebel unit names for Imperial unit names. Just too used to being Empire, I'm sorry. So, he had to drop all 6. He used the Medi Heavy comp. I also I call medic droids Medis. Just keep it short and simple. It's a very strong comp, and maybe I'll show that one in particular, but I'm going to go more into the one where, of course, I do better. It's against a level 6. You try to use just a combination of different things. Also try to use more soldiers, which it's okay, but I wouldn't recommend it, and especially I wouldn't recommend using tanks if you're a rebel. It's not a good idea. The AT, I think it's the ATRT or ATRP. I'm not really sure what it was again, but basically the walker with the cannon on its head. I mean, that's a very strong unit if used well. If it's caught out in the open, it's pretty much like our ATMP, where it's just going to get stopped by basically any type of turret. I think the only thing it may last a little bit longer against is rapid fire turrets, but that's because honestly, rapid fire turrets are a bit of a joke. They shoot fast, they're very weak in damage, and they have one square further in range than burst. But I don't really recommend them. So we'll go ahead and go into this one. And go over kind of, why I go with the base build that I do. And also just how... I've already seen this one, so it's pretty poor deployment. Turn this down just a sec. Alright. So, yeah, as you can see, I mean, it's pretty poor deployment here. He's just dropped all of his tanks in the back, right next to all my turrets. They're all within kill range, especially that his Shield Buster. And the Shield Buster, it's a great unit, but if you're not screening it, which I'll go over screening later, if you're not screening it, it's weak. It's a very, very squishy unit. But as you can see, burst turrets, I mean, even with tanks, I mean, they shred them. But right now, as you can see, the Medibots here, they're really strong. This is a big issue right now, and it's why a lot of rebels are having a very strong showing in this tournament. They're not as weak to mortars anymore, and mortars are pretty much your primary means of disabling medic droids. Next to these guys here, the rocket turrets. They're very good for it, but the problem is that if you have a unit like, say, this Leia right now, soaking it, like soaking the turret damage, you're not going to be able to kill them until basically that unit drops. Because what happens is that the rocket turret will actually target the medic droids if the unit it was originally targeting dies. So if it's in range, it's going to kill it. And if it's the first thing to walk through, of course it's going to target it. But it's something good to know as an Imperial that, if you end up killing the unit you're attacking and the medic droid is in range of the rocket turret, it will always primarily choose to target the medic droid. Which is, again, another reason why I do use rocket turrets. Even though I can shred pretty good with the burst turrets, the rocket turrets are very beneficial for taking out groups of medic droids. That's why I did pick the build I did with burst turrets, rocket turrets, and mortars. They all kind of work cohesively in taking out medic droids, which is your biggest focus and problem as an Imperial. in higher levels. Lower levels, you don't really got to worry about it until you're level 5. And at that point, the change of balance really becomes more distinct. Rebels pretty much get stronger as the game progresses and as HQs get higher, while Imperials, we kind of plateau. We're very strong early game because we have very high efficiency for capacity. While we do take up a lot of capacity with our units, the damage health is very high. So it makes it very strong as compared to Rebels who have weaker vehicles, which means they have a weaker earlier game. So at lower levels, they're pretty weak. I mean, Wookiees are very strong, but they're definitely counterable. As much as some Imperial players like to make it sound like it's the game-breaking meta there, it's really not. And then pretty much it changes because capacity rises, and then so does our vehicle's capacity rise as well. Normally it's like 10, 15, for the AT-AT it's 30, versus you get their vehicles, and their biggest vehicle is 20 units. That's not big at all compared to the AT-AT. And then for how much their units take up and how effective they are, given that infantry is very strong for Rebels, you can really see that they're going to eventually they will outscale you. This is essentially just what Rebels are designed to do. Until they kind of fix this meta, it's something I'm going to address later on too. It's going to be a bit of a hard time in Imperial, at least in higher levels. So, yeah, I think that's it for now. I'm going to do a few episodes today just to kind of get a good little stock of what I want to do with this channel and just the stuff I want to talk about. So people that are first watching can get a good range of what I want to do. So expect more out today, and I will see you guys later.